He had the chance to sit down with Academy Award-winning director Steven Spielberg to talk about his new film, Catch Me If You Can. It's a real-life story of Frank Abagnale, who by the age of 21 had cashed millions of dollars in forged checks. Abagnale, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, was chased by FBI agent Carl Hanratty, portrayed by Tom Hanks.
Step out of the bathroom! Hands on your head.
Oh, that's the new IBM Selectric.
Put your hands on your head.
The print type in 5 seconds.
Shut up!
Pop out the ball.
Put your hands on your head. Put your hands.
You know, he's got over 200 checks here.
Hands on your head.
Drafting. He even has little payroll envelopes addressed to himself.
Put it down. Drop it!
Relax. You're late, all right? My name's Allen, Barry Allen, United States Secret Service. Your boy just tried to jump out the window. My partner has him in custody.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I was reading, you said you love stories about sensational rogues.
Mm-hmm.
And Frank Abagnale, Jr. has to be a gift from heaven then.
Oh, yeah, he was.
Tell me about this guy.
Well, he was, for one thing, he was a boy. He was an adolescent when he did all this. But because he looked older than his actual years, he was able to kind of, treat the entire world like his oyster.
Well, tell me about your approach in telling the story, because you chose not to make this just a caper movie.
Right.
There's a couple of other layers, but one very important layer beneath him, and that is the why. The why he did this. Explain that to me.
Well, when his parents were divorced, and he ran away from home, he was so close to his father, and he was very aware that his father had tremendous financial problems with the government. And I think part of the why was he was trying to at least make up for the failings of his father.
He always says, I want to get it all back.
I want to get it all back for you. I want to get it all back for us. But what really happened was he was having a great time, for one thing. I mean, he told me he was really enjoying himself.
By 21, he had impersonated a doctor, and I don't mean just he walked around the streets. He got a job in a hospital.
Right.
Impersonated a lawyer, a co-pilot for Pan Am, as a young guy, a teacher.
Right.
How much of this is real? How much of this is Steven Spielberg's poetic license?
Well, all that stuff is real. All that stuff are the things that Frank Abagnale actually did.
So the most outrageous stuff is true?
Oh, yeah. The way he got past 100 FBI agents at Miami International Airport is entirely true. All those scams are true. Where we added to the truth to try to illuminate why he did it, the question you asked, was in real life, once he ran away from home, he never saw his father again.
Tell me about meeting Frank Abagnale. I mean, he served as an advisor. I mean, you talked to him many times. What was the first meeting like?
Well, the first meeting was, he sat down, and he, with a big smile on his face, with these sparkling eyes, and I liked him instantly. And I think that's his magic. That was his magic potion. People like him instantly. And I trusted him as instantly as I liked him.
So you didn't think that he was embellishing anything? I mean, he wrote a book about his life. Right. You just bought all of this and said, this has got to be true?
Well, if everything isn't true, it should have been. And I just believe what he told me.
Tell me about Leonardo DiCaprio. You talked about him as being very demanding about himself, or of himself as an actor. That he'll do more takes even if you say, you'll buy a take, and he'll go, no, Steven, I can do it better.
Right, I'll buy a take, I'll say that's great. And he says, no, one for the Gipper. He would always say one for the Gipper. And it was often that one for the Gipper where he knew I was happy.
If this is a cat and mouse game, then the cat is Tom Hanks, Carl Hanratty.
Yes, he's the cat.
What does he bring to this role? Is he, when you look at casting him, did you say, he's the guy who can play an FBI agent, or did you say, hey, there's some extra box office marquee?
No, well, for one thing, Tom approached me to be in the movie. I probably never would have offered it to Tom because I wouldn't expect him to take a supporting role to anybody at this stage of his career, even though he did that earlier with League of Their Own. But so he approached me and he said, I'd love to play this guy, Carl Hanratty. I think he's an amazing character.
You said something like you'd never seen such a bureaucratic quality in him before.
Yeah, I think it's the first Tom Hanks role where he is totally anonymous, and suddenly you realize he's in the picture. He doesn't come out of the gate being Tom Hanks, Forrest Gump, Castaway, Philadelphia. He comes out of the gate being this kind of anonymous FBI agent.
Let me ask you about schedule, and I don't know your past history on this, but 56 days. I remember when I saw you at Kennedy Airport, you said, we're on a whirlwind here.
It's a whirlwind.
I mean, you had dozens of locations, 56 days. How does that pace suit you?
Well, I love shooting fast anyway because I can see the whole movie. I shot Private Ryan in 59 days. That's a very big picture to shoot in 59 days, but at least I got to see the whole picture. The faster that we go to make the movie, the more objectivity I have, and the less if you spend one day getting 3 shots, you sometimes forget what movie you're in.
When we saw each other at Kennedy, you were shooting a scene with Abagnale, and he was kind of in a little gift shop, and the FBI was closing in, and you were extremely excited about the scene. It had been something that Abagnale told you,
Right.
and you decided to adapt and kind of change gears. Never made the movie.
Never made the movie.
It was surprising to see you so excited about something you were getting down on film that morning and then have to cut it.
Well, you should see me in the editing room. I was as sad as I was excited. And sometimes you have to make these sacrifices in order to tell a story and pace a movie and not make the movie 3 hours long.
So where all those clips go? I mean, do you have some great composite reel of the scenes that never made your movies?
I have the most amazing reel of over 1 hour and 30 minutes of outtakes from Schindler's List.
Just from that movie?
1 hour and 30 minutes of completed scenes that nobody will ever see. I have that. I have a good 35 minutes of outtakes from Catch Me If You Can. All my movies, I save my outtakes, I put them on DVDs or I put them on videotape, and I put them in the archive.
You made this one after filming Minority Report, right?
Yes.
You like that? You like the bouncing back and forth?
I did. It was like a vacation for me. It was like I often describe Catch Me If You Can as a very rich dessert. And after a very heavy meal like Minority Report and AI, I was really due for a good dessert. And that's what this was for me.